Hi, I'll be recording this for YouTube. Do I have your consent?
Yes.
And what is your name?
Sandra and Delgado.
And how old are you?
I'm 50 years old. Sorry. Try to lie.
How was your childhood growing up?
My childhood growing up was kind of not too good. I was brought up in like what you call a dysfunctional family. Very growing up. I was abused and stuff a lot by an uncle, and my family was always drunk. It was an ugly childhood. It really was. It's
Did you have both your mom and dad?
No, my dad died at 34 and my mom died at 43. In my childhood, no, we were separated. My grandma raised me.
And you said you were abused by your uncle?
Yeah, I was abused by an uncle of mine that was a Burbank police officer at the time. And he molested me from the age of 5 until I was 12, and then he raped me when I was 12.
And did he ever get caught?
No, he never got caught for that. No, my grandma never told on him. When she took me to the hospital, she said she didn't know what had happened to me.
And do you keep in contact with any of your family now?
I do. I keep in contact with my sisters and my brother, and my grandma just passed away like 2 weeks ago. The one that raised me, she just passed away. So, trying to get a ticket to go down there for her funeral and stuff like that.
So you mentioned you had brothers and sisters. Did your uncle ever molest?
No.
Why do you think your uncle just molested you?
Well, because I was the only kid in the house. Everybody else was raised. My mom was taking care of them, or they were in foster homes. Eventually, they got adopted out. I was the oldest, so I never got adopted out. I stayed at the house. Adopted at a certain age, you know.
Did you finish high school?
No, I didn't. I only finished graduated from 8th grade, and that was it.
And what made you drop out of high school or not decide?
I never made it there because I was in a foster home when I graduated 8th grade. So when I was supposed to go to Artesia High, I never went because I ended up running away from the foster home. So then I started going to juvenile hall and all that stuff.
And why did you run away from the foster homes?
I don't know, because I was stupid, because that was the best foster home I ever had. It was a single lady. She was by herself. She didn't have a husband or nothing. It was just her and her mom. She was good to me. She took care of me. It was a black lady. She was very nice to me. And I had everything I wanted, you know, but I messed up and I ran away. So she was scared to take me back after that.
So when you ran away, where did you go?
Back to the projects where I grew up at in East LA.
And did you start doing drugs or getting into gang activity?
I started doing drugs. I was never really into gang activity until I went to YA. Then you ain't got no choice, either from down south or up north, you know.
And what kind of drugs were you doing?
At that time when I was young, I was doing PCP and marijuana.
And how old were you when you were doing that?
12 when I started. I was 12.
Who introduced you to PCP?
My uncle had got arrested for a murder, and he left 2 milk gallons of PCP in the freezer. The cops never found it, so I knew what it was. So when he went to prison, I ended up taking it and smoking most of it, probably trying to sell some of it, you know what I mean? Because they missed it totally in the freezer. It was in the freezer, so it looked like it was water up there, trying to get water cold or whatever. Like strawberry juice or something. It didn't look bad. It didn't look like it, you know, was out of place or anything. So they didn't find it when they searched our house.
And after PCP, did you try any other drugs?
I've done every drug there is to do. Every drug. I was on heroin for like 25 years.
And how did heroin make you feel?
Oh, it made me feel good at the time, but then afterwards when I was sick, it was no good. I'm still on methadone right now.
And how did you get on methadone?
I went and signed up for it when they got a place here because I was already strung out and I didn't want to have to hustle for my dope, so I just went and got on methadone. Medi-Cal pays for it now, so.
And was it an easy process to get your methadone, or did you have to take several steps?
No, I just had to go in there for the to interview, and then I got it right then and there. It was easy.
Do you think the methadone has really helped you?
I think so. I don't have any urges to use heroin, even though every now and then I do because I miss a certain amount of days, and when I'm sick, I've done it like maybe 3 times in the last 3 years. So
tell me about being dope sick. How does that feel?
Oh, that's ugly. That feels really ugly. It's not a head thing. It's like a real physical thing. Your body's really sick when you're sick. You know, you start vomiting and going through convulsions and stuff like that. It's really ugly.
So how do you feel about your childhood? Do you think that affected you long term?
I think that it did, but I don't want to put that like as a crutch, you know what I mean? Because when I was old enough to make it, when I was old enough to know the difference between right and wrong, then I had a choice. Because my sisters and them, they made right choices, and they got husbands and families, and they're doing good, and they went through the same shit I went through, you know. Except for the molestation, they didn't go through any of that.
Have you ever gotten help or therapy?
Yeah, I'm going through mental health right now and stuff like that.
Do you think that has helped you tremendously?
Not really, no.
What do you think would help you with what happened to you as a child?
I don't know. I don't think that really has a big effect on my life right now. I really don't. I think it's just me and the dope. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you think that you're in love with drugs and the street life?
No, I'm not in love with that shit because I don't even like being out here like this. You know what I mean? But I ain't got no choice because I'm homeless. So where do I go back to? Just over here.
What would you tell these younger generations of kids thinking about doing drugs and going out on the street?
I would tell them to think about it before they did it because it's not everything it seems like it is. Because in the end, it's a bad process that you go through, and it's ugly. It's ugly living out here. Go to school and get a job and try to make a life for yourself, you know?
And where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Probably dead.
If any family members or anybody that knows you watches this, what would you tell them?
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Okay, you're welcome.